Welcome into Hand Raised Guys, presented by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. I'm Neal McCready. That's Chase Parham here with you on this Thursday evening. Off to a little late start. Had some technical issues and such as we get rolling here on a show. We'll open up the phone lines, and hell, they can be open whenever you're ready for them to be open, for that matter.
There's no game Saturday,
there's no game.
So whatever.
No game to preview. We'll talk about some bowl scenarios and that kind of thing. Talked to Chris Beard earlier today. It was an interesting press conference because I think Chris was not in the mood to really talk about basketball. So we talked about
cheese. Oh, did you really? I haven't seen any of this.
Talked about, well, I haven't had a chance to post it.
Okay.
Had cheesesteaks. I did ask him about Rocky. He does like Rocky.
So we had that day today.
We had that day today.
Okay.
He's partial to Rocky 3. I wasn't going to argue with him because it's the first time that we've had an opportunity to discuss this. I was going to tell him that is incorrect. That's the wrong answer.
There is a correct answer.
But I did ask him, what's your favorite one? And that was his answer. And I wanted to say, well, that's wrong. But we talked.
There will be a test. And
we talked about Mexican food. We talked about queso.
Like white versus yellow,
white
bad versus
yellow,
good, that kind of thing.
We talked about pork rinds.
Why pork rinds?
Well, he has discovered, look, it's maybe my favorite place in Oxford, if I'm just being honest, is the Blind Pig.
I had Blind Pig pork rinds today.
I like the Blind Pig. Sometimes I feel like it's kind of my little secret.
Yeah, it's not a secret, but
I don't really like to share it with a lot of other people. But
phenomenal pork rinds.
But he was talking about his dad used to watch his football practices, and he'd sit out in a lawn chair and he'd, I think, said drink a soda, but he would have either corn chips or pork rinds.
Oh.
And then he was somewhere recently. He said that this is the first time they'd ever seen this was in Mississippi, that people dip pork rinds in things.
Oh.
And I told him later, I said, I've never seen that. And I've been here a minute. And he said, oh, yeah, it's a thing here. And I mean, who am I to argue? I mean, if he says that
he's seen it, he's seen it.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, I wasn't going to go, you're lying about pork rinds. I mean, I believe him. But he said, and this blew me away because I've never seen this. And then I thought, well, maybe. He's seen people dip pork rinds into guacamole.
Oh, yeah. See, El Chorro serves their guacamole with pork rinds. There's a few pork rinds on top of the guacamole at El Chorro.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Now that you say that, because like Carly Ann doesn't like the guacamole, but she likes the pork rinds. So you can ask for like extra pork rinds and she'll eat those, but I got to make sure all the guacamole's off of it. She won't eat that. But yeah, they garnish, if you will, their guac with pork rinds at El Chorro.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I didn't press him on it. Not that I was going to press him on pork
that would be a
rinds
little
and guacamole.
extreme.
Yeah. You could tell some of the other people in the room were getting frustrated
with the lack of basketball content.
With the utter lack of basketball content. But he walked in the door, and the first thing he said was, "What bowl is Ole Miss going to?"
Oh, did he really?
And we were all
he started it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Come on, read the room. and it was like, we were like, probably Citrus. And he's like, "Has Ole Miss ever been to that one before?" And I was like, "I don't think so."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Okay." And then he said something about anybody want to go to lunch. So he was hungry.
Okay.
And we were like, well, I mean,
altogether, no, but
yeah,
I mean,
not really. And he's like, what's your favorite lunch place? And people started talking about places they go to lunch. And then he said something about queso, really likes queso. And so we got into a discussion about white versus yellow. And you could see the media relations people over there going, okay, do we cut this out? What do we do?
Oh, yeah. For the video. What
are we doing? Y'all are egging this on. And then David Eckert asked about Memphis, and he talked about Memphis and Penny for a minute. And then somebody asked about Cisse, which was obviously the topic, a fair topic. And he dove into that. But I said, hey, we didn't ask this the other night. And I probably should have when you brought up the Rocky movie. Are you a Rocky guy? And if so, what's your favorite Rocky movie? And you could tell.
He was perfectly fine to talk about something else.
He immediately looked at me like, oh, you get it, don't you? And I'm like, yeah.
Today we're not talking hoops.
And so, yeah. I did asked him about it being a sellout. And he talked about that. He put his marketing cap on again.
It's what tradition, Grind, while you're talking? Says 2 days in and Elko's already having to defend one of A&M's many weird traditions. Which one? I mean, they're a plethora.
I guess I should tell you real quick, we're brought to you by Comer
sure.
Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. If you're in the Oxford, Batesville, Tupelo area, call Comer. It's December 1st tomorrow. You guys know what that means. It's going to get cold. So make sure your heating element and everything is ready to roll. 662-801-1777 if you live in Hernando, Memphis, South Haven, those areas. Get in touch with the people at Southern. 662-429-4429. This will be the one of the Friday Oxford Exxon podcasts. We'll have an extra Oxford Exxon podcast with Ben Mintz. I'll probably post it pretty early tomorrow. But Chase, what's going on at the Oxford Exxon?
Go get your beer for the weekend. Tell you about that to start. Again, 34 degrees, the walk-in, the beer cave there. Here locally, you got conference championship games. You got basketball against Memphis. Maybe you want to have a couple before you go to the game. Maybe you want to have a couple after the game, either in sorrows or celebration. Although if you're having sorrows, we need to have a conversation at some point between now and then. Maybe you took advantage of the lunch specials all through the week, $5.69, couple sides. You get some bread, any size fountain drink. You might as well get like the really big one because, again, it's free soft drink at that point. You ask Chris Beard about that. Maybe he likes chicken spaghetti or chicken and dumplings or meatloaf or many of the different options that are going on there at the Oxford Exxon. And, that's that. We're in the Clark Ford studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's right to the bottom line. There's no hassle. There's no haggle. You get your quote. The rest is up to you. You can shop that quote around. You can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today, 662-257-1900. All of our content at MPW Digital brought to you by Twisted Tea. Are you ready to elevate your college football game day experience? Check out Twisted Tea. It's your go-to game day beverage for college football fans. Twisted Tea is unlike any hard beverage you've had before. It's made with real brewed tea, packs a flavorful punch, 5% alcohol, no carbonation, delivering the perfect balance of taste and refreshment that goes down smooth for every game day occasion. No need to settle for the usual. Twisted Tea turns up any occasion, especially when you're cheering for your favorite team. Whether you're tailgating in the stadium parking lot, watching at a bar, hosting friends at home, Twisted Tea is there to elevate game day experience. It perfectly complements your love for college football and your passion for creating unforgettable moments. So let's toast to unforgettable game day experiences with Twisted Tea, the drink that fuels fun and celebrates your love for college football. Keep it twisted. Guest join on the Campbell Clinic Hotline. The Campbell Clinic's in Oxford now, 2608 South Lamar Boulevard, Suite 102. Just across the street from the cottages at Hooper Hollow. The Campbell Clinic provides full-service orthopedic care, everything from sports medicine to foot and ankle surgery to spine and total joint care to pediatric orthopedics, physical therapy, and more. To book an appointment, go to campbellclinicoxford.com or call 901-759-3111. Walk-ins always welcome at the Campbell Clinic, Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m.
So there's no defense because Ford's okay. If you're gonna do the Rocky movies, and if you're gonna say what's your favorite, if you want the actual critical film, you're gonna pick Rocky 1, or you're gonna pick Creed.
Yeah,
from a critical movie. This is not a movie. This is a film. It's not a blockbuster. It's a film.
That's fair.
We're gonna pick one of those two. So we're gonna pick Rocky 1. Come on, that's the answer. But if you're picking fun, it's Rocky 4 with Rocky 3 finishing second. Now, the problem is that the first part of Rocky 3 is irredeemable.
It's awful.
I got Mickey dying. I got Rocky not caring and doing the carnival amusement park training. I've got the very uncomfortable Clubber Lang at the statue dedication where he and Adrian have their moment back and forth.
And Rocky and Apollo have some weird moments.
It just
the dance, the hugging in the beach,
the race that Rocky would have no prayer of ever winning.
No, Rocky was never going to beat Apollo in a race.
I mean, Apollo's whole thing was he was built off Muhammad Ali. It was footwork, moving, agility.
Yeah, he was.
Rocky's a big lumbering oaf.
Yeah, there was no way that.
No. He jumped rope for 2 weeks. Now he's ready. Neal.
Yeah, come on.
We have a very accelerated timeline in the Rocky universe. The kid ages 10 years. Rocky gets fleet of foot in like 10 days because he's training in L.A. and not Russia.
Becomes a right-hander.
Well, it's the rope-a-dope, but then he sticks with it and never reverses it. It has some logical fallacies, okay?
Kyle Wilson's never seen a Rocky movie. Kyle. 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 I don't even know where to start. Go get Rocky 1 and watch it. And then report back.
There are a lot of people who have not seen Rocky movies that are under 32, 33.
Okay. Yeah, because Chris Beard and I are the same age. And so he was talking about seeing Rocky 3, and he remembers seeing it with his mom and a friend at a mall. And he remembered after that movie, all he could do, he just wanted to go jump rope or run or something. I mean, I was like, yeah, I get it. I can remember after that movie wanting to like go box.
Yeah.
I mean, it was jacked. I was probably 13.
Yeah.
I mean, I was ready. Let's go. I couldn't wait for
And you're in when heavyweight boxing was cool. Period.
Oh, big time.
I mean, that was the stars. I mean, we've always talked about this with his punching power. If Deontay Wilder's in the 80s, he's like a multi-millionaire freak show top 10 celebrity in the world kind of dude.
Yeah,
a 6'9" guy that knocks you out.
You're too young to really remember.
No. I mean, I caught the very end of like Holyfield.
Yeah.
that era.
When I was a kid, Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, Ken Norton, Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, Hitman Tommy Hearns, Ray Boom Boom Mancini.
Yeah.
Those were household names. Like, we talked about those guys, me and my friends. They came on Wide World of Sports. Saturday afternoon, sometimes you'd get a championship fight. I can remember Muhammad Ali and Leon Spinks fighting in the Superdome on a Saturday night in a rematch because Leon Spinks upset Muhammad Ali to win the title. Michael Spinks' big brother. And Muhammad Ali beat him for a rematch.
Okay.
And it was a big deal. It was everybody stopped and watched it on a Saturday night. I probably was 10, 11 years old. Those people were superstars. They were no joke. I mean, LeBron, Tom Brady,
boxers.
They were those names. I mean, the only athletes in the sports world who were as big in his prime as, say, Muhammad Ali.
Probably baseball players back then.
I mean, Reggie Jackson.
Yeah.
Terry Bradshaw, Roger Staubach. Yeah, baseball players.
It is worth getting down the wormhole, guys, of watching the Tyson knockouts on YouTube. Just watch the compilations of his knockouts.
Yeah, he was scary. Like, Mike Tyson was scary. But those were big fights. Like Tyson and was it Spinks? Or Tyson, who did he fight that was obviously Evander Holyfield, but there were a couple before that were huge. I can remember the utter shock to find out that Buster Douglas had knocked out Mike Tyson. Just utter shock. Like, you didn't believe it. That fight was in Japan or somewhere.
That was a bigger deal than I would remember it being because of my age.
Yeah. It was a different world.
Maddish. Holy cow, Wikipedia has an entire page called Texas A&M Terms. Grunt makes a good point. Yeah, they call the Texas fans T-Sips. It makes it easier to cheer for Texas every time you hear anything.
Oh, hook 'em.
I mean, because I don't like Texas, but it's all relative here.
I'm kind of starting to, if I've got to choose, when you move to Alabama, they say you have to choose. If I ever move to Texas and they go, you have to choose, I'm like, all right, go home.
I've chosen.
Give me some burnt orange. I'm good. I'm in.
Yeah, here
whatever.
We go. It's fine. You'd rather do the hook 'em than the thumbs up.
Oh, my God. And all of it. The orange, look, Texas, again, we've been over this before. Texas uniform, brand, the whole deal, it's world class.
It's the universal sign for good job.
Yeah.
That's what you took.
Yeah.
It's like going, hey, I tell you what, we're going to put your hand together and then put 2 fingers up. It's a peace sign. That's our turn. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. They try really hard.
It's just all too much.
A war hymn, not a fight song.
Yeah.
No, it's a fight song. So he opened the press conference today. He asked what bowl we thought Ole Miss was going to. There was a consensus among beat writers in the room that it kind of sounds like, feels like Citrus. Is that what we're kind of going with here on Thursday night?
It's what I'm going with simply because I'm not buying. I would not predict that they're going to just redo everything. Now, here's the catch. Ole Miss is literally one spot out. So it just takes
what does it take?
Them to jump ahead of Penn State. Just because. I mean, I don't know. I mean, who says that they don't move one team one spot?
All right, here's a scenario. So Michigan blows out Iowa.
Okay.
Tulane wins.
Okay. Tulane has to win, in my opinion.
I agree. So Tulane wins.
I think if Tulane loses, it's all for naught.
Okay. Tulane wins. Michigan blows out Iowa. Penn State's biggest win is now.
Pull up their schedule. But
they have no bad losses. But what's their big win? They lost to Ohio State.
I mean, Ole Miss has no bad losses.
No, they lost to Ohio State. They lost to Michigan.
No, Penn State's the one where when you look at the whole thing, you kind of go, huh? I mean, I get what they're doing, but it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Well, it's starting to kind of feel like this is that whole, hey, we got to set a precedent to make sure that we get 3 Big Ten teams.
Penn State's wins West Virginia at home, Delaware, which is joining Conference USA, by the way.
Yeah. Let's go put butts in seats.
At Illinois.
Okay.
Iowa.
Okay.
UMass. Northwestern.
So far, Iowa's the only big win.
Indiana.
Okay.
Maryland.
Decent.
Rutgers. Michigan State.
So they have one good win and one decent win.
Now, I will say this. They beat the raw hell out of people.
They did.
But
who they play?
Yeah. And their losses are 24-15 to Michigan.
See, here's my problem.
And 20-12 Ohio State.
I can make a lot more compelling argument for Missouri than I can Penn State.
Yeah, Penn State has, of the 4 teams, has the weakest resume to me. Because Oklahoma, I mean, their resume is pretty good. I don't hate Oklahoma's resume.
No. They beat Texas.
Yes, there is technically a world where the SEC would miss the playoff. But I just think the SEC is too powerful to get left out like that at the end of the day. I just don't buy that happening.
I don't either. There's also a world, I guess, where they get 4 of the 12.
Oh, I mean this year.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I meant Alabama or Georgia missing this year.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. That's what we were talking about 2023.
I think well, I meant
Alabama beats Georgia and then Texas gets in instead of either one of those teams. Florida State wins and gets in.
So Tyler and I had this debate.
But you let Florida State in without their quarterback over Alabama and Georgia.
Tyler and I had this debate, and it bothers me. The whole, are you taking the 4 best teams, or are you taking the 4
most resumes?
The 4 most deserving teams, he said. And if you do deserving, it's resume, and I think I'm about the resume. I don't.
Oh, you think you really? So you think you're okay with just not worrying about who's playing or not playing and just what have you done at that point, and that's what it is? I mean,
well, here's the thing. Okay, you take a scenario where Alabama beats Georgia. Texas wins the Big 12. If Texas doesn't get in and Alabama does, you basically tell Texas that win in Tuscaloosa in September didn't matter. And you go, well, Alabama hadn't worked out their quarterback situation by then. And Texas goes, and? So why play? Why did they go to Tuscaloosa if it didn't matter? Wouldn't they have been better off playing UTEP?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get it. You're going to punish Florida State if they beat Louisville? You're going to punish them because, well, your quarterback's hurt. Okay, well, people get hurt in football. We don't do this in the NFL. If the Saints win the NFC South and in the last week of the year, Derek Carr gets hurt, they go, well, you know what? You won the South, but you were going to win the South, but we're going to give it to the Falcons because your quarterback got hurt. You're not going to be able to win a playoff game. We're not doing that. Why are we doing this in college football?
I was trying to look. I know it's somewhere on the site to say exactly what they're supposed to look for in these rankings, but I'm having a hard time kind of finding it right now.
But is that a valid point? You wouldn't like that in pro football. You'd lose your mind.
I completely get it, but the entire sport is subjective.
Patrick Mahomes gets hurt in week 16. Are we going to go, well, you know what? The Chiefs, yeah, I know you won all those games, but you're not going to do it without Mahomes. You're out. Hey, Raiders, you're up. No, we don't do that. That's
so
stupid.
You're advocating for just setting up the blowout and letting it be what it is.
I guess so, because they earned the right to get blown out. They scheduled LSU and Florida. They didn't play a cupcake schedule. They went undefeated. They won their league. This is assuming they beat Louisville on Saturday. You're punishing them because a kid got hurt? What if a kid for Michigan, what if they just lost the left guard? He might win the Outland Trophy. Are we going to go, well, nope. I think I think you're going down a street that's not good. You're saying September doesn't matter. All that matters is the end. Okay, well then, what if a team starts off 0-2 and then rips off 11 wins in a row?
And you clearly look and go, oh my God. Well, I mean, got a quarterback back, lost an opener.
I mean,
and then suddenly dude's back and they're a rolling ball.
Take a 2008 Ole Miss team.
Yeah. At the end of the year, you go, oh.
At the end of the year, they were one of the 10 best teams in the country.
Yeah.
But they lost to Vanderbilt at home. They lost to South Carolina at home. Did that not count?
Yeah.
How's that work?
The proposed selection process is to establish a selection committee that will be instructed to place an emphasis on winning conference championships, strength of schedule, and head-to-head competition when comparing teams with similar records and pedigree. Treat final determination like a tiebreaker, apply specific guidelines. The criteria to be provided to the selection committee must be aligned with the ideals, blah, 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 to honor regular season success while at the same time providing enough flexibility and discretion to select a non-champion or independent under circumstances where the particular non-champion or independent is unequivocally one of the 4 best teams in the country. That's where Georgia's in trouble if they lose, and I just don't see them getting back in. It doesn't make sense.
I agree. 100%.
Here's what's interesting, and because it goes down to the bottom to go, we want this same criteria to be established on picking 10, 11, 12, the rest of the college football access bowls, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And this is what bugs me. Back to the Ole Miss thing.
Sure.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
It's what really bothers me because McClintock, it's where the committee goes, well, this is why. They say when circumstances at the margins indicate that teams are comparable, and there's nothing here that says Penn State, Ole Miss, and Missouri are not comparable, right? I mean, they're all comparable.
10-2 teams in Power 5 conferences.
Championships won. Okay. None of them.
Okay.
Strength of schedule. They all have really good strength of schedules, basically negligible.
Okay.
It's like 8, 9, and 10, literally. They're all next to each other.
Okay.
Head-to-head competition, there is none.
Nope.
Comparative outcomes of common opponents. Okay.
Okay.
In parentheses, without incentivizing margin of victory. It's literally in their bylaws. So please explain to me how Missouri has a better resume than Ole Miss.
So the common opponent, both Ole Miss and Missouri played LSU at home. Ole Miss won, Missouri lost.
And they were both at home. Arkansas,
they
both won the games.
Played Arkansas. They both won. I'm trying to think, is there anybody else that they both played?
Vanderbilt, they both won.
They both beat Vanderbilt.
And there might be one more. Georgia, they both lost.
Both lost to Georgia.
On the road.
It says specifically not.
In parentheses, without incentivizing margin of victory. You're not following your rules. That's the point. I'm reading from the college football playoff guidelines.
It's where the whole thing's messed up. The whole thing is messed up. And so you're going to do the best team. But how do you, like, I mean, number one, and again, I've said this 1,000 times. I know it matters to some people. I know it matters a lot. I'm not discounting your emotion or your passion. I'm just saying this particular year, I don't know. It doesn't really matter, whatever. That said, there it is. What is the rule? What is the criteria? Do you have a plan? What do you do? And they could have avoided all of this by not having that stupid Tuesday show every week. You realize that, right?
Of course.
Then you could just wait till the end. You could evaluate the resumes and pick the best teams. But if you go by that, Ole Miss should be in instead of Missouri. Now, I think both Ole Miss and Missouri should be in ahead of Penn State. But are you not doing that because, well, that would be too many SEC teams? So are we going to do that in the playoff? Are we going to have this fight in the playoff every year? Oh, well, I know 5 SEC teams are deserving, but that's too many. Says who? We don't do that in the NCAA basketball tournament. We don't do that in the College World Series.
The very last line, we would expect this same set of principles to be applied, particularly at the margins with teams 10, 11, 12.
What does particularly at the margins mean?
Don't get bogged down in who's better 6, 7, 8, ranking them like whatever. It's all the same versus make sure you get the right teams in, I think is what they're saying.
Yeah.
There's more of a problem if a team gets left out that's deserving versus a team being ranked 7th instead of 6th. Whatever. Okay. Although I would argue that whatever the break is starting next year with a home game matters a whole hell of a lot.
What's stopping them from putting both Ole Miss and Missouri in?
I don't know.
Is there a rule?
I mean, it's happened before.
I mean, you could put Georgia in the playoff, Alabama in the sugar, or where would Alabama go? If they lose,
sugar,
no, not sugar. If they lose on Saturday, where will they go?
Peach.
Whatever. Okay, Bama goes to the Peach, Ole Miss to the Cotton, and Missouri to the Fiesta. Problem solved. Send Tulane to the Peach, Texas to the Cotton, and Washington to the Fiesta.
Done.
There you go. Look at me.
Because the Orange is already getting Louisville and Ohio State.
Yeah.
We did that in like 9 seconds.
This is
so save you a lot of time.
I mean, y'all wouldn't even have to do a 7-hour show.
Now, under that circumstance, it would be Penn State, LSU in the Citrus.
Okay.
And then would be Iowa in the Outback against whoever the hell that would be.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just...
Iowa, Tennessee, Outback. There you go. Solved.
Yeah. That would be that bowl game, yeah.
Okay.
You good? I'm good? All right, sweet.
I mean, that'd be fine. Or you could... If the Citrus didn't want LSU a second year in a row, let LSU go to the Outback and let Tennessee go to the Citrus. What difference does it make? Who cares?
Yeah, I guess there were only 3 Access Bowl teams in 14. I thought there were 4. It was just 2 of them happened to be Ole Miss and State.
What if Louisville beats Florida State? How far does Florida State fall? Do they fall out?
No, they're not going to knock all the way out of the Access Bowls. That's Ole Miss's problem, is that Florida State's going to stay ahead of them and Louisville's going to jump them.
Okay, but if I'm playing devil's advocate.
Sure.
All right. I'm not arguing with you. I agree. You're probably right. But if the quarterback thing is a big enough deal to potentially keep them out of the 14 playoff, wouldn't the quarterback thing with a loss to Louisville be enough to kick them out of the 12? I mean, wouldn't that be a precipitous fall?
I'm just telling you, politics and all, I don't think that's the case.
I get it. I agree with you. I'm just saying, but shouldn't it?
Yeah.
At that point, would anyone, if they lose to Louisville by 13 points Saturday night, is anyone going to argue that this Florida State team is one of the best 10? Anyone?
No. Yeah, as somebody says there, I know Staples is predicting a reshuffling on Sunday, and that might happen. They might all get in, and he'd be right. Look, if Andy's right, none of us are stunned.
He's more connected than you and me.
Yeah, so I'm going sure. I just don't like his comparison of 2014. That's my problem.
I get it.
Now, I understand why TCU was so pissed in 14. They were ranked number 3 or number 4 going into the last weekend of the regular season. They won their game beating Iowa State 55-3 and fell to number 6.
Were they behind at 3-0 at some point? So what happened? What?
Because they
had some control problems.
That 2014 Big 12 season didn't have the it was that weird champion tiebreaker thing, and it messed up TCU. It put them in a weird spot.
Now, I will say, if I'm Ole Miss,
they were co-champions with Baylor.
Yeah, if I'm Ole Miss, I do not want to. Whoever is this year's version of TCU, I want no part of it. That team was highly pissed that day. They took a lot of frustration out on that field.
In December 2014, after completing the first season with the college football playoff, Baylor and TCU both finished the season with 8-1 conference records and were declared co-champions by the conference despite Baylor's head-to-head win over TCU. When the selection committee met to select teams for the first playoff, both were overlooked in favor of teams that competed in and won conference championship games, leaving the Big 12 out of the playoff. This led to the criticism of how the Big 12 determining its champion. The playoff committee basically said they didn't have one champion and they didn't play on conference championship weekend, so we've dropped them to 6.
They didn't want them.
Right.
Simple as that, which is where I go, hey, this is why I might find it in me to be more worked up on Monday than I am today, because I just keep thinking politics are going to play here. At some point, right after they get through settling the 4 and they figure out, okay, who's going where and whatnot, I have a very difficult time believing, Chase, that they don't look at the Peach Bowl and the Cotton Bowl and the Fiesta Bowl and go, hey,
who you want?
Who you want?
Yeah, here are your options. We can't do anything stupid, but
yeah, I mean, you can't like go take Utah here, but who do you want? Here's your pool.
And the Peach Bowl goes, we really would like to have Missouri instead of so-and-so. And they go, okay.
Right.
And look, the Cotton Bowl might not know who they want because they might want Ole Miss Texas, but when they see Texas gets into the playoff, they go, whatever. Nah, it's fine.
Sure. Or they might go, okay, well, you know what? We kind of had a dud last year. We took it for the team. We're good. We don't want them again.
Can I get Ole Miss Penn State?
Yeah. Can I have Ole Miss Washington? I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe the Fiesta Bowl goes, we really don't want Missouri. Wouldn't mind doing the Kiffin thing. Or maybe they go, we want Missouri, Washington.
Yeah.
Or maybe they go, we really want Alabama.
Yeah. We don't get Bama very often. That's a weird one for us. Can we do that?
We'd like Bama. And I don't know how that works.
Because the Sugar Bowl doesn't get a say.
But I have a difficult time believing. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I have a feeling nobody would ever tell me. Nobody would ever admit that I were right. I have a difficult time believing that politics never kicks in.
Yeah, sure.
Not even a little bit?
Oh, look at him.
I know, he's beautiful.
Look at him.
He's gorgeous.
What's the big thing on his head? Does he take that to Chicago?
He's just the king of the world.
Does he get to take that with him?
I hope
Where y'all make him one?
We'll make whatever he wants.
Okay.
I mean, you know how good he'd look in blue.
He does look good in the uniform.
He does. He looks so good in the uniform. Imagine how good he look in blue.
You have golf on?
Tyler wanted to watch golf, so I turned it on.
Okay. It's still on.
They play forever.
They do. It's all day.
They just, oh my God. How many of you people are there?
There's only like 20 in this event. This is a made for TV.
Then what
thing.
in the world's taking so long?
Yeah, this is a really small event.
All right.
Kirk Bowles saying he's hearing Texas, Mizzou, Cotton. He would know the Cotton.
He would know if UT doesn't make playoff. Okay, there you go. And look, it might be that's who they want.
They get the old Big 8 Southwest Conference thing.
I think it's stupid what I'm about to say, but I do think something really hurt Ole Miss. That Georgia game got hyped, and Ole Miss got steamrolled.
Sure.
And I do think it hurt them.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. It did hurt them. It just goes against their own criteria.
I get it.
So I'm bugged when Boo Kerrigan or whatever his name is gets up there and goes, well, here's why. And it's like that literally is against your own rules. You're explaining why on something your committee literally says do not do. Because he's going to talk about game control and margins of defeat. And then in another game, he's going to go, well, it's really all about wins. It's like, well, hold on. LSU, Tulane.
I know.
They're in your thing.
I know. One at Auburn, whatever. I mean, I don't get it. I don't understand it. But what you should say then at the beginning of the year is, look, if you play a big game and you get rolled, it's going to hurt you. Because maybe that changes the way you coach the game.
Tyler, that should have actually been y'all's that should have been y'all's punishment in McCready and Siskey's competition, is that if Neal loses to every press conference for a certain period of time, he has to wear a baseball jersey with scoops on the back for the name.
My God.
That it can be a Cubs jersey. I don't care, but that should be it. It should be like number 1 with scoops over it that he has to wear to all the PCs.
That's brutal.
Put it in his backpack for basketball post-game press conferences.
No.
Has to go to the bathroom and slip it on like Clark Kent in the phone booth before the press conference. I think that's the play.
I was kind of locked into a baseball game that was played 20 years ago. It's true. I'll own it.
Yeah, look, all this teeth gnashing, and here's the truth. If it were next year, you would just be celebrating with your feet kicked up because you would already be in the freaking playoff.
100%.
Literally in. Done. You'd be going, well, okay, let's go see where we're going. You'd be going to Washington or Ohio State or where the hell ever.
Oh, yeah.
Florida State. You go, hey, please, can we go to Tallahassee and play that team right now?
Be scouting games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we win that one, well, who do we get? Georgia? Oh, well, okay. But, hey, that's Final 8. That's what you'd be doing. I know it doesn't matter.
I mean, you're irritated by it. And
I'm very irritated by it.
I understand the irritation.
I don't like when something says do something and then the people pee down my leg and tell me it's raining.
I get it.
That's my problem.
I'm not making fun. I understand.
That's why I like computers to decide things. Like, people suck. Just spit out some numbers.
Oh, I'm with you there completely.
Robot strike zones. Sure, let's get the call right.
Yeah, totally.
Because the people drive me insane, and I love some of you. I like you as people. You're some of my best friends. But the people go, nope, that's just part of the game to get calls wrong. It's like, but why? They're like, that's the romance of the game to miss calls. It's like, how about we just get the call right? The hell are we talking about?
I got nothing. I mean, looking back, I'm kind of glad they didn't have replay in the 85 World Series. I mean, Dinkinger, maybe he was right.
Oh, that's true.
Maybe he was right.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. Like, what are the top 5 worst missed calls ever? Because you could.
I mean, replay would have changed that.
Yeah. Given the dude for the Rockies his no-hitter, I'd like to change that.
Yeah.
I mean, that sucks. What was that guy's name?
Galarraga.
Yeah. I was driving to Charlottesville, Virginia for the regional in 10 when that happened. David Brandt and I were listening on the radio.
I always wondered what replay would do with the Alou foul ball.
Oh.
Would it have made it
yeah.
What would it have done? Oh, the infield fly with was it Braves?
Braves Cardinals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost came to blows in my house that night. No, I don't like AI at all because it's not programmed right now to even be correct. Like, people are trying to use it and it's not even smart enough to get right what you're trying to do. Like, but I'm different than most news people on that. Most are just salivating over all the different ways that you can use it right now.
I've never used it. Corey, welcome into the show. How are you?
What's up, guys?
How are you?
Doing good. Left work last day of the month.
Did you sell some trucks and cars?
Yeah, we did all right today.
Good.
People do not understand that I live month to month. It's a starting line and a finish line, and it's everything.
So the quota begins tomorrow again, and here we go.
I am also in the scoreboard business. Yep. Yes, sir.
We're at the end of November. What's been your best month this year? Like, not number on us, but just what month was it?
July.
Oh, really?
July. Yeah.
Warm month,
And
people in good moods. Is that like traditional?
No, typically the summer's short.
Okay.
But typically the summer's not good as and then like January is going to be like the Dave Ramsey books will be flying off the shelves right around New Year's Eve, and then by January the 20th, all that's gone. You're back to not spending money like crazy, but you may not be following the Dave Ramsey plan exactly like you're supposed to by the 20th. So the start of the year is pretty slow. The spring and fall are usually the best.
All right.
For me. Yep. Football Saturdays are tough. I mean, if you've got State at Bama and LSU, or Ole Miss at LSU, there's not going to be a lot of
car dealing that day.
Not a lot of lot traffic, as we call it. But yeah, other than that,
you want to go to the citrus? You want to go to the cotton, Corey?
I answered your poll, and I know that the easy answer is the third answer: win the Access Bowl. But that's not what you asked. You asked lose the Access Bowl or win the Citrus Bowl, and I answered it: win the Citrus Bowl.
Yeah, get the 11th win.
11-2. Yeah, once you've been to multiple, I don't think there's a difference in the world between going to 3 Access Bowls or 4 in the last X number of years. I don't feel that way.
You're either a program that can get to the damn things or you aren't.
Right. So,
hey, Corey, did you raise some hell in Starkville last week? How'd it go? I mean, I saw you were pretty amped up. Got some photos and stuff.
No, you didn't.
Oh, yeah,
did you? Okay. Indy?
What?
Yeah. Indy Bowl?
What are we talking about?
He's referring to Independence.
Oh, no, somebody else. We'll talk about it later. But how'd it go? Did you have a good night?
It was pretty good, but some girl that was with another girl, she came up there and started ringing the cowbell, and I was like, no, and I got it. And I'm not a jerk about the cowbell, but I intentionally sought out Ole Miss section tickets so I didn't have to hear those things. I think that's I was kind of sitting in Switzerland. I didn't want to be. I did that on purpose. We bought those tickets to stay in the Ole Miss section. So State fan that intentionally came to cause a problem, or just happened to be sitting with some Ole Miss people, or like how big of an asshole was this person? Just a drunk female's all it was, and we just were like, nope. So yeah, it was the nicest egg bowl I've been to over there. I think they all knew, I mean, obviously they knew that we were better, and they had an interim coach, and everybody was cordial. I didn't see a lot of ruffled feathers at all. They were about to make a coaching hire that, as a buddy that's a State fan said, man, that's like, coming in dirty and taking a good shower. Just kind of fixes a lot of things. So yeah, it was
Did they show they show Knox coming in on the 4-wheeler on the video board? Like everybody all amped up when he was on the ATV?
I think they did, but he took a weird route. I was on the exact catty-cornered end of the stadium from where he was.
Hey,
so I didn't really know.
Big news for both of you guys with this portal. This portal's difficult to keep up with today.
What are we doing?
Javante Connor says, after much thought with family and also close ones, I will not be entering the transfer portal. I'll be remaining
a rebel.
So
okay. He deleted that post pretty quickly yesterday.
The portal taketh away, and the portal giveth.
Yeah.
In very short order.
Who was that had that post?
The other day it was Suntarine Perkins. We're all assuming that was portal related, but it could have been anything. He tweeted a series of dots.
Okay. Yeah, this is Twitter, like decoding Twitter season for sure.
What I'm just curious. You said this
out.
was the nicest, Corey. What was the what's the most evil Egg Bowl in Starkville you've ever been to? What was the rowdiest?
Ooh, #Wallacing.
Oh, was that one bad?
Yeah, it was. This is the first one I've been back to since then.
Okay.
I think. I don't think I went to the Dak Poopy Pants game. And I know I didn't go to the one 2 years ago. I don't know. I think this is my last one back.
All right. So you hadn't been in 10 years.
Ish. I may have been to one in between there, but I don't remember. It was uneventful.
Is it only because Ole Miss was such a favorite that you probably didn't have to deal with a loss?
No, not really. I mean, we were sitting around and like, you know, my kids were tended to, and they were all going in different directions, and I just, you know, called somebody and said, "Hey, you want to ride over?" And
yeah.
So we rode over, and nothing else to do that day, and it wasn't, the weather wasn't bad. I mean, it was 40, but the wind wasn't blowing at all. So it wasn't awful.
I hear you.
Somebody put on the message board today, and I commented on it. I said, "This is sage advice right here, that I'm gonna try to do this to, like, not worry about transfer portals or signing days or anything like that, and just kind of look at the roster in August and see what has occurred. Just trust Kiffin." And I know it's impossible to do, but, you know, if I think you would go crazy hitting refresh on Twitter and refresh on the message board, trying to figure out, you know, if somebody gets in the portal, is it a like y'all were talking about on the pod today? What's the Georgia quarterback's name?
Carson Beck.
Is it a negotiation tactic while he's in the portal, or is he really looking around? I mean, there's just too many moving parts to try to keep up with all of it. You'll go crazy. He said, "I'm just going to chill, try to not worry about it until we see what the roster is during Neal's favorite time of year, fall camp."
I mean, from a coverage standpoint, I honestly kind of don't know. I don't really know what to do with it. I know, I mean, we're going to cover it. We're going to write about it, but God, I almost kind of hate to feed into it with the minute-by-minute drama of he entered the portal, he's out of the portal, maybe he gets back in the portal. Just, I mean, let me know when you decide something.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
You know, I don't, and I know that's not the best clickbait journalism in the world. Luckily, we're not a clickbait site, but I don't really know how to write those stories because I just find them all to be so incredibly disingenuous. And I was telling Tyler this today, the observation that I've made in the last 24 to 48 hours is that with the portal, schools are now, quote, offering, end quote, portal guys, and they're not real offers. The offers are now really a signal of, hey, we'd really like to talk to you. We'd like for you to come visit. And if the visit goes well and we have a connection, then we'll go from there. But to do that, for the kid to come visit, you have to offer, because they like to put out on social media all the schools that offered them. It's clout.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, you could offer a kid a scholarship and 0 NIL, and he was offered. You know?
Yeah.
Or if he comes, it's a great visit, then you give him the NIL.
But I mean, it's kind of like it's like the analogy I used is an NFL team goes into free agency and they contact 20 free agents. They're not signing 20 guys. They might bring some guys in. They don't sign everyone they bring in. They just, I don't know. It's just.
I haven't told y'all my transfer portal story. I hadn't called in and told this story. I didn't want to put it on the board, but I hadn't. Y'all haven't heard me talk about the tennis player in the transfer portal, have you? I don't want to be redundant.
You have. I have not heard this particular antidote.
So I've got a customer that was getting his vehicle serviced, and we were talking about he's a state guy. We were talking about how crazy the portal is and all that stuff. He said that he has a nephew that played JUCO tennis. And I think it was in the state of Mississippi. They're from Mississippi. So he had played JUCO tennis for 2 years and had come to Ole Miss as a regular student, was no longer going to play tennis. And now he may be telling me a fib. I don't know. But this is what I gathered, is that he was going to go play tennis at Delta State now. But because he was enrolled at Ole Miss, he had to enter the transfer portal. And so when he enters the transfer portal, it doesn't say John Doe from Jones Community College. It says John Doe from Ole Miss in the tennis transfer portal. And man, he was getting blown up. Like Wake Forest was calling him. like teams from all over the country had no idea who this kid was.
But they just saw a pretty good tennis program and went, "Oh hell."
Yeah, it's worth investigating. So he's answering the phone with all these random numbers. Like, look, I went to community college to play tennis, and I'm transferring to Delta State, but I had to get in the portal. Now, I don't know if that's true and that's the way the rules work or not, but I found the story hilarious one way or the other.
It's probably true because it would be your institution at the time.
Probably is. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But, yeah, he said that he was getting blown. Everyone in the country was calling, just kind of checking in, just see, and I thought that's pretty funny.
I feel for every coach because, I mean, I've heard coaches of multiple sports go, you're just speed dating where you have basically a line and you try to find a phone number, but if you can, it's Twitter or Instagram or whatever direct message system you have available. And it's, hey, I'm John Doe from Ole Miss and blah, 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 and then introduce, and then you might be ghosted right there. Deal might already be done.
Andy Kennedy told me one night, he said, literally, I just opened up a bottle of wine and started calling. He said you just kind of call everybody. I mean, and they all do. It's why, I mean, Andy wasn't going to, he called 20-something guys one night. He's not taking, he doesn't have 20 spots. You're just doing your due diligence. But the fact that
shooters got to shoot.
Well, I mean, but you have to, because if you don't cover the base, you can't go backwards. You've got to be moving with it. And so you're just the fact that on Monday Ole Miss is going to contact 100 guys. I mean, you got to cover it. I get it, but that's not 100 separate stories. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just not. Why? Running back John Jones would fit at Ole Miss, my column. I mean, I don't know. It bothers me more than it should. Chase gets irritated about the whole CFP thing. I get irritated about this.
What was our freshman running back's name this year that redshirted? Kind of an Italian
Riscano.
Kedrick Riscano.
Yeah. What did he? Did they just redshirt him because they didn't?
I think he played in too many games because he played on special teams.
Did he?
I think.
Really? Okay.
I could be wrong. Okay. I can look at it, but for some reason that makes sense to me.
I just didn't remember him getting a lot of carries or any carry. I don't think
he got any carries.
Okay.
But I don't mean red shirting these days is just whatever, man. Blah. Okay. Awesome. Yep. Yeah, participation statistics. He played in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games.
Okay. Well, good for him. Good for him. He lettered.
He did letter. He gets on the wall.
It's a jacket.
He is in the M Club.
He is eligible for the M Club. That is 100% correct. So
I wonder how many kids across the country are going to be in like 3 M Clubs by the time all this is over with. Like, they're in the club in Arkansas, and I was in one Ole Miss, and I'm in the Tulane Club. Because they just keep transferring, and they qualify. I lettered at 3 schools.
We talked about this though the other day with like KJ Jefferson. He's kind of like he's a big deal in Arkansas, and when you transfer, not all the way, but in some ways you lose sort of that after football appeal of like running some whatever and being a pretty successful businessman or whatever just because you played football and have such name recognition.
The KJ Jefferson State Farm wouldn't go over as well in Fayetteville if he transferred to Mississippi State.
That's my point. Yeah, no, 100%.
I thought about Kenny Yeboah for some reason about this, and I went and looked, and I can't find where he's ever started a game, so it doesn't say Kenny Yeboah, Temple or Ole Miss. I can't find that. But on all of his NFL stuff, it says his college was Mississippi. And how many games did he play?
Yeah, like 9, 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wonder if he ever starts what he says. I always want, like, what does he say when he spent however many years at Temple and then was kind of a mercenary for Ole Miss that one year? I mean, I don't know.
I mean, that's I guess Joe Burrow is clearly LSU because that's where he made his name. But yeah, I get what you mean when it's the 1-1 kind of deal.
Right. All right, guys. Well, Chase, I'm kind of scared of what you have of me.
Oh, it's nothing. I mean, you were fine. I mean, you weren't doing anything crazy. You just got a photo you were in.
Okay.
It's all good. No. You were completely presentable as a professional human being. All good.
Okay. I mean, there were moments in that game when I was not that way. So that's what I'm saying.
No. You were looking directly in the camera. All good. No problem.
Hey, Corey, this time next week is what is Shohei Ohtani on the team?
I don't know. You know where I get my Shohei Ohtani news, honestly?
Where? From
you on the podcast. So, I didn't know Toronto was a player until I think you said something about it on there. Didn't you say something about Toronto at one point?
Yeah, he gets mentioned with the Blue Jays a little bit, but it doesn't sound like that's a real possibility. It feels like it's Cubs, Giants. Feels like it's Cubs, Giants, Dodgers is the favorite. And then maybe
like my Cubs. You're like my Cubs pimp. Like, you tell me where to go and how to feel, and I just wait on you to say something on the podcast, and I know that I'm either in a good mood about it or I'm in a bad mood about it.
Yeah.
You know, we're either winning 70 games or we're winning 100 games. You know, that's kind of how
I think he's a Dodger. I think it's all just drama. He'll do something. He'll go to the Dodgers next week.
And that is not good for Major League Baseball.
It's not.
I mean,
it's not.
It's not. I've said this to my coffee guys, and that's Braves, Cardinals. There's 2 Cubs fans in there. I think there's a random Astros fan in there, but I believe this with my whole heart. If Mike Trout walked down Main Street in Amory, Mississippi, he would not get recognized.
No, not a shot.
I wouldn't even recognize.
No.
I wouldn't even. I probably watched 50 to 80 baseball games during the Major League Baseball season. Would not recognize it. Without having an Angels uniform on, I wouldn't recognize it. So they've got a problem, and I think him at the Cubs or even the Cubs, Phillies, Braves, Mets, Sox, Yankees, would be.
So you think like in 1982, a large portion of the Amory populace would recognize George Brett?
Dude, I'm not a journalist. I'm a fan, and my dad took me. Chevrolet was doing a photo shoot where Will Clark was in it, and he was with the Giants in like 1989 or something.
Yeah.
And they were doing a Northeast Mississippi Chevrolet dealers photo shoot. It was like the best day of the 80s for me. And there's no chance that I was 9 and I have a 9-year-old. No chance if I took him to see Mike Trout, who is he's still leading the war on that. Like
he's way up there.
There's no chance that my 9-year-old would be fired up about going to see Mike Trout, Shohei, any of them.
I was going to ask if Shohei Ohtani walked the streets of Amory, Mississippi, would anybody notice him?
No. Yeah, no.
Just go with no. The answer is no. Stop. No.
No one would notice it.
I threw the bait out.
Yeah, no.
But Parham protected you.
I did good.
Yeah.
Speaking of the previous conversation, Tyler says in the stream that Malik Heath said Ole Miss a couple weeks ago on Monday Night Football.
Really?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although he had a pretty good time as a Rebel. He was happy with his development during his year in Oxford.
Well.
Yeah.
Well, it may have the reverse effect where the fans tweet such mean things at him when he left that he just picked up the red and blue flag and is going to run with it the rest of his life.
Well, it's like, I get his frustration a couple weeks ago, but like Dave Clawson whining like hell over Notre Dame's video to Sam Hartman, which a little bit of bad luck. Wake Forest was the last home game of the season for Notre Dame, so they had to sit and watch senior night with Sam Hartman going through it at Notre Dame. But he went on this big tirade about how, y'all just rented him. You didn't love him. You didn't develop him. He's our guy, and yet you keep talking about how he's always an Irish. And he got like really emotionally pissed off in the press conference after the game.
And I get it.
I do. I completely get it.
I get it.
I wonder what Wake Forest NIL looks like for football.
It's not Georgia.
It's probably nothing. Yeah.
I mean, when Riley Leonard goes to either Notre Dame or Auburn, I mean, who developed him? Duke.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
They're the guy that knew him when he was 18 and like the whole deal.
Yeah, the whole thing. I mean, I know we do the fan thing and we dive in and all that stuff, but come on. Like when Will Rogers goes someplace next year.
Yeah. He's a Bulldog.
He played at Mississippi State for like 11 seasons. KJ Jefferson.
Good.
He's a Razorback. I don't care where he is.
I mean, KJ Jefferson owns the Arkansas record book. Now he's going to go play against them?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
bad.
Crazy.
It is.
It's not good.
You just mentioned two dudes from Mississippi that, by all accounts, are great human beings. You know what I mean? I mean, and they've got this one chance. Where's Rogers going to go? That's not an NIL thing, is it?
I don't know what he's going to do.
I mean, look, in this crazy ass quarterback market, there's a market for him.
He'll get $500,000 easy. Oh, okay.
Will Rogers can get.
All right, hold on. Here's the scenario. Jackson Dart plays at Ole Miss next season, leads Ole Miss to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Graduates. Right. Still has a year left.
Wins the playoff.
Okay, wins the playoff game.
Okay.
Graduates. Goes into the transfer portal and transfers to Michigan. Ole Miss people will melt down. I mean, and I'll get it. I'll understand it. It's guys.
I have seen an Ole Miss quarterback transfer to Michigan before, and meltdown is the right word.
Okay,
yeah.
Michigan wasn't the best. Right. Michigan wasn't the best example.
Okay,
let me go work Tennessee. He goes to Tennessee. People, it's not. This is not good for the sport. It's not. I'm not anti-player. I'm for the players getting paid. I am, but guys, this is not good for the sport. And so, 20 years from now, when Will Rogers comes back to Mississippi State, people are like, well, yeah, but he left. When KJ Jefferson goes back to Fayetteville for some reunion of the Outback Bowl championship team, people are like, yeah, but he left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I'm gonna hang up here in a second, but I'm with y'all. I can't remember if it's this show or the Sissy show, but I feel so bad for Oregon State.
Yeah.
Conference and coach.
And quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quarterback's going to Michigan State.
You can blame no one.
Is that what he's doing?
You can blame no one.
No, of course not.
You can't blame anybody.
No, but you can
feel alma mater and empathy.
Yeah, you can feel bad for the Oregon State fans. Of course. They didn't do anything wrong. And they're a great fan base from all accounts. I mean, I watched them in Las Vegas last December. There were like 30,000 of them in Vegas for the Vegas Bowl. Tons.
You know where you can find sympathy, Neal?
Where?
In the dictionary between shit and syphilis. No, but I do feel bad for those guys.
It's horrible.
For real.
So
and
bad.
The school, the fan base, all of them. I feel bad for and as a country, we don't feel as bad for Wazoo as we do for Oregon State, and they're in the same boat.
Yeah, I feel bad for Wazoo. I mean, Cam Ward's going to get in the transfer portal another time and make $1 million.
What does that conference look like next year?
They're signing a deal to play some Mountain West games. Yay.
Yeah.
And they get to claim a Pac-12 title, so they're just going to play each other and then hang a banner.
Yeah, the winner will win the Pac-12.
Well, they've got a 50% chance.
For sure.
They do.
Good odds. Yeah.
And when you say, well, they're...
All right, guys, get after it.
All right. See you, Corey. And people are going to say, well, there aren't 12 teams in the Pac-12. And they're going to say, well, there aren't 10 teams in the Big 10. There aren't 12 teams in the Big 12.
No, you keep
numbers
Pac-12.
don't mean anything.
You keep Pac-12.
You keep Pac-12.
It's the brand.
Of course.
Now they were Pac-10, which is what we all originally knew, but it's rolled off the tongue long enough now that
we are the Pac-12. The two of us.
Because the Big Ten doesn't even use the logo anymore that had the 11 in it because that was a great logo, by the way.
It was.
But
college football's so stupid. We're the Big Ten. We have 18 teams. We're the Big 12. We have 16 teams. We're the Pac-12. We have 2 teams. Make it make sense. That guy, he started at Clemson. Now he's at Oregon State. Now he's at Michigan State. But he only has 5 years of eligibility.
But we don't allow trades. That would be too far.
That's wrong.
That is the line that we draw in the sand. Sorry. Peace out.
Please ask your questions for the student athletes so they can get back to their studies.
Oh, all the playoff stuff where it's please direct your questions to the student athletes. They do it every time. It is
so we can excuse them. So presumably they can go back and study.
Yeah, why do they have to leave like 5 minutes before the coach does? It is now. We'll let them go. They have tutoring, and then we will proceed with our.
You always want to go. So hey,
well, like basketball does it, don't it? Like they might speak to the player first, right?
Yeah, it always is. We'll take an opening statement from the coach.
Yeah.
Then we'll take questions for the student athletes. Then we'll excuse them so they can go prepare for their calculus test. And then we'll take more questions for the coach.
I noticed Ole Miss even did it the other night as I was listening. He went to break field.
Yeah.
And then he gets to leave and does he leave or stay?
He leaves.
Oh, he does leave.
Yeah, I want to go. So, Jamin, are you going to study right now? And what's going on in your class?
You can't hang with coach for like 90 seconds.
If Chris talks for 6 minutes, those 6 minutes, is that the difference between an A and a B in your chemistry class? I mean, what's going on? Hey, who do we have?
Yo, it's Grind, man.
Hey,
it's Grind.
Up? What's up, Grind?
Not much, man. Just getting over a little sickness that I had, man. God dang it. It wasn't even the Bama game that made me sick. It was real deal stuff. My gosh, man.
So you were in the stadium the other night for this?
Over the halls, man.
Okay.
No, well, I wasn't able to because the week before I was dealing with an inflamed nerve in my back.
Oh.
So, no, there was no way I was going to be able to sit down. Yeah, sit down in the stadium.
Oh, thank God for you.
I just went down there and tailgated.
So where'd you watch the game from?
Dude. I went down to Auburn and still tailgated with the folks. I just didn't go into the stadium. I was in one of the big comfy chairs.
So were there a lot of people around you when this is going down in the fourth quarter? I mean, what's the tailgate situation? Is that all this stuff is happening?
Oh yeah, man. You got my mom with me who decided not to go in the game either. Some of her friends. You got people that are around my age. You got my girl with me who's an LSU fan. You got it's. The scene was, I'm basically setting the scene. So, just make a long story short, we get down to the 3rd and goal or whatnot. And whenever they snap the ball past Miro, and everybody's like, oh my God, we finna win and all this other stuff. So this is exactly before the 4th and goal, right? Before the 4th and goal. My mom looks at me and she's like, because my grandmother and my uncle are inside the stadium at the game. And she's like, everybody's going to want to go to Toomer's Corner after the game.
Okay.
And this is before the 4th and goal. And then
no,
and then
never.
My girl looks at me, and she's been there. And she was following the LSU game on her phone early in the day or whatnot, so she's good after they came back and all that stuff. But then she's like, hold on. She was like, after my mom said that, she said, y'all was going to go somewhere else after the game? And I said, yeah, usually after big wins, everybody goes, Toomer's Corner, celebrate. And she was like, oh, my God, okay. So I kid you not. They snapped the ball. And, when we only rushed 2, I was like, hold on, y'all. I said, whoa. I said, why we only got 2? I was waiting for somebody just to come flying on the screen. I'm waiting for a blue jersey just to come flying out of nowhere. Oh, they said the offensive line or something, and it never happened. He throw the ball deep. And they catch it, and the whole tent just goes quiet. And then my girlfriend looks at me and she says, "Are we still gonna have to go to that corner thing?"
Oh God!
I was like, no,
no, we don't.
I said, no, we're not gonna have to go to the corner thing.
So
I doubt it now.
I as it was going on, I felt for you in so many ways and thought about it. So when they muffed the punt, did you just assume a loss at that point too?
That, and I mean, that's why look, don't ever let these Bammers out here tell you that they don't care about it and all that other stuff, because they name games just like we name them too. And so, yeah, they correctly calling it the Muff and the Miracle, which, I mean, I understand because, yeah. But my thing is, man, I don't know why I do this to myself, but I guess I'm just a glutton for punishment. But Hugh, in his post game, talking about he didn't even know that was the second string punt returner. I'm like, bro, you got to know that in that. This is why everybody shouldn't just. This is why you shouldn't have a guy that's just a designated. Like, if basically, I think what Auburn does, if you're the punt returner, you just have the number 0 jersey. You just get this designated 0 jersey. So whoever's returning punts just has a 0 jersey on. And DJ James is usually back there returning punts, but it was core. And then you've got Auburn fans taking it to the extreme, like my grandmother. Why they had that boy from Louisiana and not a boy from Alabama back there? And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like,
so where was James?
Couple of quick notes real quick. Langston Patterson, the linebacker from Vanderbilt, who many thought would get into the portal, is not getting in the portal. He's going to stay at Vanderbilt. Caden Costa, the kicker from Ole Miss, is in the portal.
Which is significant because Davis is done, or so you got.
This is a question that I can't answer. I don't know if he still has a COVID year or what.
Okay. Let me check on that while we're talking. So I got a question from the stream. I really don't know how this works, Grind. When you think a game is going to be won like that, like how do people procure the toilet paper for Toomer's Corners? I mean, are people running to the stores in the middle of the game as they're winning? Do you just have it somewhere? How does that work?
No, I mean, it's like as soon as the game's like, I mean, obviously it depends. Like, I mean, if it's a blowout, then they start getting stuff ready. But when it's a game like that, it's just really spur of the moment once the clock hits 0. You know what I mean? So no, I mean, like Toomer's Corner and everybody didn't have enough time. I'm pretty sure, like when the ball was snapped, it was like, oh, probably get everything ready. And then, I mean, 2 plays later, it was like, well, all right, hold on, put everything up. So I mean, I don't think it was a thing where they just had some, massive take it back, type thing.
Okay.
To be honest with you.
I mean,
like if Auburn would have been up like 24-0, then yeah, that would have been one. Where I mean that would have been the case. We got to take it back on a massive level.
Ole Miss kicker Caden Davis does have a pandemic season remaining if he would like to take it. So for everybody out there, even though Costa's in the portal, Davis does have a year of eligibility remaining. So, I mean, I know you're sick because I mean, again, watching that and just everything that goes along with it. But sorry. Given the season, though, where it is, I mean, how bad does it gut you compared to losses where more was on the line? I mean, what are you feeling overall after that?
Like, I mean, honestly, this loss, all it did, and that's what I was telling folks on the way home. Like, I mean, okay, we instead of going 7-5, we go 6-6. But really, it's more on the scale of, like, after this year, things change. Like, next year, if this was next year with the exact same scenario, the Iron Bowl wouldn't even matter. I mean, Bama, the pass could have felt incomplete, and as long as Bama beat Georgia, then they're still in the 12-team playoff. And hell, they could even lose to Georgia and might still have a chance for a 12-team playoff, next year. That's what I mean. It was this where you could just say, it was year one. And, we suck, but we still beat y'all, and we kept y'all from getting in the playoffs. Because, I mean, I'm not going to lie, man. I started talking mess to my friends. I started texting my homeboy. I said, yeah, this is it. I said, we're going to do it. I can't believe it. And then, of course, he started talking his mess, and now I got to buy him a shirt because that's how I bet every year. So I got to buy him his Iron Bowl championship shirt. It's on the totality of the season, like, I went down there just to see how people felt from the New Mexico State game. Because people that I tailgated went to the New Mexico State game, and boy, I mean, it was as if, I'm not gonna say they were pissed. They were just like so amazed that it still happened yet. Like it was like they were still in a trance about it. Like, I can't believe they came in here and just kicked us up and down the field like that. And so, and that's what I was telling them, because I was like, because I just said, because it was crazy I said this, because as they was going to the game, I said, it'd be crazy, man, if he win this game somehow, and then everybody would have been talking about how he could have went 8-4 and had a chance at 9-4 for a bowl game. And then the dude going into the game was like, "Oh, well, shoot, it's probably the best ain't happening," because then everybody be talking, about expectations next year. But I just think, I mean, the New Mexico State game, even if you beat Alabama, it's like you just can't do that, man. You can't do that, bro.
Here's the wrong guy for you because he's going to get the big wins, but he's just going to lay that one occasionally. It just is.
Yep.
See,
he's going to beat Georgia or Alabama, and he's going to lose to Arkansas.
Okay, that's fine. I tell you now, that's fine. But
Okay.
you can't have that, bro. You can't have G5 coming here and smack you
I
up
get it.
like
I
you
know.
all in high school. Not all the
Ole Miss lost to Memphis the year that they went to the Sugar Bowl, and it was because he ran Kimdichie as a running back and ran the reverse passes with Laquan Treadwell.
And look, if this recruit class finish, I'm not as if they finish with 70% of the guys I think they get and end up around top 8-ish or so, I think he'll be fine. Now I don't like what I'm hearing about the Porter QB. I don't like what I'm hearing. Hopefully these Auburn insiders are wrong, because for whatever reason there seems to be infighting on boards about, because I hate, and see, the thing about it is people love like that Iron Bowl game, because people are always, number one thing people gonna say about Thorne, we didn't lose the Iron Bowl because of Thorne. I'm like, bro, that doesn't mean we should not be looking to replace Thorne. And so you've got some Auburn fans that are like, we need to see what he does in year 2, and I'm like, no. So I'm curious to see if money. Hopefully the people that are giving big, that matter, say Thorne is not the guy. I do not need the people that are giving big to say, let's see what year 2 Thorne looks like.
You want Riley Leonard?
I don't. I take. He is an upgrade over Payton Thorne. I mean, that's clear and obvious. Payton Thorne has some dumb plays this year, just dumb. And if you put Payton Thorne on that Duke team, oh God, I don't know what they do. So yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. Riley Leonard's better than
Payton
Thorne. That's not even a debate.
Yeah. So yeah. The more I talk about it, think about it. Yeah, he's a clear upgrade. If you can get him, get him. So it'd be nice to bring the boy from Alabama back home, man. It'd be nice.
What percentage you giving Alabama to beat Georgia Saturday, Ron?
Me and my dad was talking about this. The play to beat Auburn means nothing if they go and lose to Georgia. Whether they lose big and get ass blasted or they lose small, just lose. Because me and my pop said we do not need this play leading to some Bama. It was the Bear Bryant Angels guiding Alabama to a championship this season. We do not need that. Please. I don't. So I think Georgia wins, but the fact that Vegas ain't giving you much on that Bama money line is scary in my opinion. I was thinking they was at least give you 2 bills, if not close to it. At least probably like, they giving you plus 180. I think that's what y'all said on the show, right?
Yeah, it's plus 180.
I think that's what 50 got it at.
Yep.
Okay. But still, man. If you made me guess, I haven't did an analytical dive into it, but I'll probably take Georgia on the spread. I'm not sure what I do with that over under though. I mean, I think it opened up at 55.5. I'm not sure what is that now.
55.
I mean, do you guys with 30-27? Does that feel like a little too much for that game?
That feels too much. I think it's going to be an early rock fight.
That does. Yeah, that does feel like a little too much.
I'll tell you the money line. I mean, not to keep on you a little bit, but I tell you the money line because I think they've won a lot of games, but they haven't necessarily beaten anybody worth the crap. I can get Mexico State against Liberty at plus 340.
Yep. I like that one.
And I hope Liberty rock the hell out of them. I hope Liberty rock their ass back to New Mexico, back to Las Cruces. I hope they get rocked. Boy, my God, man. Speaking of the other Aggies.
Here's one, too.
Mike,
I wonder the last time in a conference championship game, an undefeated team, major conference, is a 290 underdog.
Mm-hmm.
Washington is plus 290 against Oregon as an undefeated team who's already beat the team you're playing. Got to be the first time in history. That's incredible.
And you know the committee is just pulling for that plus 290.
Oh yeah, make it all the zero losses teams you can get. Make this as easy as possible.
So Elko, I mean, he's already having to defend Midnight Yale. And they saying they expect A&M to go 10-2. They expect this thing to be, puzzle piece fit, just perfect. Is that what you guys are seeing with Elko in this first year?
It's what they do. They refuse to ever even
the expectation doesn't
even be
change.
remotely realistic. The expectation is win the national championship, even though they never compete for the national championship.
No, that is so crazy to me, man. Like, at least, like, with other programs, they do hear the runt where they're like, look, man, we just need to get back to this base level first. Like you saw it with Tennessee fans, where they were down for so long, where they were like, man, we just need to get back to beating the Kentuckys and Vandy's of the world first.
I will say this, Grind, they've got one of the easier conference schedules that I have seen yet for next season. A&M got a lot of favors for next year. Now, they play Notre Dame in the non-con, but...
Really?
I mean, they miss Georgia and Alabama next year.
Mm.
They miss Tennessee next year. They miss Ole Miss next year.
Do they play Ole Miss?
No. It's Florida, Arkansas, LSU, Texas, Auburn, State, Missouri, South Carolina.
Wow.
Got a break on a schedule.
Okay.
And then they have Notre Dame, Bowling Green, McNeese, and New Mexico State.
Realistically, if we try to see what they see, because they said A&M should be a place where it should be like how Georgia was under Mark Richt, where you're churning out 9 to 10 every year, kind of like that. Do you think A&M should be that should be what what A&M can be, really? If I guess if we, take a moment to stop making fun of them a little bit, is that, reasonable or is that kind of still out of whack?
If they get out of their own way, they should never be worse than 9-3. I mean, that's the all. I mean, I can make fun of them all day long, but with the resources and the ability and everything else, if they actually were competent and got out of their own way, 9-3 should be flourish. They should. But they've never done that because they've never gotten out of their own way, so it doesn't count.
Yeah, I mean, I think with all their resources, they should be.
And now
8-4, 9-3 is the floor.
And now the team that has dominated them throughout history and is their biggest rival is in the same league as them.
That's what's going to be interesting.
No, Texas is about to rock them. Is what's about to happen.
Well, see, what I'm going to be curious is, do they kind of have, and I'll admit to it, do they kind of have like the little Auburn syndrome when it comes to Alabama, where if, let's say, next year, let's say Texas is 10-1 going into the game and A&M is 7-4 out of the playoffs, but they beat Texas and, Texas still make the playoffs or whatever, but they beat Texas and, you know what, the hell with it, we beat the Longhorns, so it's a better, 8-4 is a little more acceptable.
I mean, they did, the last two times I'm looking at it here. Their last two of their last three wins over Texas were when Texas were top 15 teams and A&M was unranked. If you look through their history, they have upset Texas a lot when they've won games, but they frankly just have lost a lot. I mean, they don't win a ton. Outside of a stretch from 84 to 94, it's pretty sparse. They dominated from 84 to 94. I don't know anything about either team during that period, but
that's probably like the Slocum days or whatever. probably for them. If I just had to take
at the
just
time
a
of the
guess.
game, A&M had a 10-year period where they were ranked 15, 10, 15, 16, 10, 4, 8, 11, 14, 15.
Well, I mean, hey, so I guess it has been done before in their history. Well, I mean, they're top 10 every year. But but college football was just so different.
Yeah. There's nothing. It's not even the same sport. And again, they haven't played since 2011. Texas was ranked 25th in the country and beat A&M 27-25. If I remember correctly, it was on a walk-off field goal.
Yes, I do remember that game.
Yeah.
I do remember that game. A lot of hissing by A&M fans that day.
Yeah.
They hit. But
Texas leads the series 76-37.
That is crazy. So Neal, you got my team going against your team tonight, man. Just be honest. What you think the night's results are going to be? They got Thunder -6. The over/under around about 230 or so. What you thinking?
I mean, I think Shea probably goes for 65, 70. Chet probably goes.
Oh my God.
Chet probably goes 30 and 20. J-Dub probably puts in like 22, 23 points. Giddy will get 15, right? That's the joke. Giddy will get 15. I don't know. I mean, I mean, Thunder don't really have a bad loss. They've played pretty much everybody well, with the exception of Denver. So this will be interesting. I mean, the Lakers are better.
Yeah.
Lakers are better than them. They're older than them. The Thunder. This is just a fun year because you're watching.
I don't know, man, with the Lakers.
You're watching the build, and it's just kind of it's fun.
Yeah.
What's fun with the Thunder is just to watch Chet, man. Chet gets better game after game after game, and you hear guys like Patrick Beverly after the game the other night, where Patrick Beverly's like, "Oh, he's it," and he said that he never talks to rookies, and he talked to Chet, and he went, but not until he talked to Shea, and he asked Shea, "Hey, this dude for real?" And Shea was like, "Oh, he's." I can't say what Shea said because I can't say those words, but Shea was like, "Yeah, he's that." And if Patrick Beverly, pretty tough dude, not my favorite guy in the world. But if Patrick Beverly is in on you, you're probably a legit player. So I hear all these veterans one after the other sort of rave about Chet Holmgren, and I'm like, he's that guy.
Weirdly enough, I like Patrick Beverly more than Draymond Green. I think he's more likable than Draymond Green, which is crazy. When you just said it, I just compared those two guys in my mind, and for whatever reason, Patrick Beverly is more likable to me than Draymond Green is.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Patrick Beverly has more respect kind of around the league. Draymond does stuff that's just childish.
You ain't dude. You're not lying, man.
He's
worst case scenario with Josh Giddey. If it's the worst case scenario, how does it affect the Thunder's playoffs and whatnot in your opinion? Let's just say he just has to sit out for the rest of the year to clear stuff up.
I mean, it hurts them. I mean, they've got it changes the way that they play, but look, it's clearly a distraction for him right now because he's not played particularly well the last couple of games. And look, if he doesn't become a better shooter, none of it matters. They'll move on. They have too many assets, and you don't have to have 7 superstars. In fact, you can have too many superstars. And right now, the best thing that Giddey does is he's really good on sideline, out of bounds passes. He's good at facilitating, but he can't shoot. He's not a great rebounder. He's not an elite defender. And on a team where, like Isaiah Joe is a better player than people thought he was going to be. Kenrich Williams is a better player than people thought he was going to be. The other Jalen Williams, the one from Arkansas, is a better player than people thought he was going to be. I think he and Chet play really well together. That you throw in Micic, the European player they brought in, who does some nice things. There's not room for everybody, and so somebody has to go. And if that ends up being Giddey, I don't think it's going to be because of the stuff off the floor. I think it's going to be because he never developed as a shooter. And you have a team that already has a superstar in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and you have a team that it certainly looks like at a minimum Holmgren's going to be a top 25 player, and he very well might be a superstar. And I think Jalen Williams, the one from not the one from Arkansas, the other
Santa
Clara. I think he's as close to being kind of an all NBA caliber player as you're going to get. And if he's your third wheel, everything else can just be role players. You don't have to have more stars. And they've got all these picks coming up. They've got the Clippers pick. They've got their pick. They got potentially 4 first-round picks in this. And then their books are pretty clean for the next few years. I mean, everybody keeps saying they're going to make some big trade. I'm like, they don't have to make a trade right now. I think they can let these guys play and organically sort of figure out what do you need. Because right now, I think what they're trying to determine is can you win with Chet at the 5? Or do you need to move Chet to the 4 and get another big to complement him? And they've got plenty. See, they've got plenty of time to figure that out, right? Because he held his own against Joel Embiid, and I'm a big Joel Embiid guy. And what he did with Embiid was because he's so good on the perimeter, he was able to pull Embiid out, and it opened up things for Chet for Shea on the inside. And so I think this is an experimental year for them.
Oh, so you saying y'all might pair him with like a JaVale McGee type or something like that? That'd be nasty.
I mean,
like, I kind of see.
I mean, they could. I mean, then there's
I kind of see what you're getting at.
The name that gets mentioned a lot with them is Lauri Markkanen, and they would certainly have.
No way.
They have the pieces to go. Way. They have the pieces to get anyone they want, realistically.
And if y'all get Markkanen, I might be hating a little bit.
They get
man.
I mean, I'm not saying it's him, but I mean the point is they can really experiment this year. I mean, they can do some different lineups. They're going to see, hey, how well ultimately do SGA and Holmgren work together, and then once they figure out what they do really well as a duo, okay, how do we build around that? And that just takes time. I mean, this is not – people keep talking about their playoff window. This is not their playoff window. Next year starts their window. This is the last year to experiment.
Yeah, this is like fun time.
Yeah, this is playtime.
I got you.
Yeah,
right.
you try different things.
Yeah. Let me hit you guys with a little trivia before I let you guys go, man. So last time I hit you with the only team to score 10 points in every game in the college playoff era. This time I'm going to ask you kind of the reverse, but not exactly the reverse. This team has reached 10 points the fewest. This Power 5 team has reached 10 points the fewest out of all the teams in the college football playoff era, only reaching 10 points 71% of the time. So basically almost 30% of the time, their fans don't see their team score 10 points.
I mean, they have to
Who
really
is
suck.
This team?
Is it a Big Ten team?
Is it not Iowa?
No.
I'm kidding.
They've been way too good.
Illinois.
Illinois is incorrect.
That was a good guess. I was kind of on that. Boston College.
That was a good guess. Boston College is incorrect.
Okay.
I mean, you have to have such bad quarterback play over and over and over
and over. You can't even have one good quarterback. I mean,
Syracuse.
No,
it won't be them.
Yeah. I mean, Gary Schrader's been putting up a little points here and there.
Right.
They've had, some guys.
I mean, this is much harder than the other one.
Rutgers.
Oh.
It is Rutgers.
There you go.
Rutgers is the team that has only scored 10 points 71% of the time.
Maybe they fit into the Big Ten after
playoff
all.
era.
Hey, come on.
I guess they really
so
do.
mean.
Yeah. I'm so glad they could get that media market and dominate the New York and DC.
All right, thanks, Gron.
Thanks, Gron.
All right.
We're approaching my witching hour, so I can go see Chargers versus the Chargers in the Battle of the Chargers, first district game of the year.
Oh, it is a district game.
Yeah,
isn't it?
and a little concerned. Got a bad
You're a little
feeling.
worried about the ego getting to them a little bit today. They rout Starkville the other night. And
We typically don't deal with prosperity, Will. All right, this will be our last call. We'll take one more. Hey, who do we have? Hey, caller, you're on.
Hello?
You're on.
Hey, guys, it's Robin.
Hey, Bobbin.
Hello?
yeah, hey,
you're on. You're on.
Hey, how are y'all?
Yeah, turn your device down or whatever.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. We good now?
Yep.
Okay. Neal, so I'm going to the Pels Spurs game tomorrow night. Am I going to be in for a show with the French kid?
Pels who?
Spurs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's terrific. I mean, he's kind of up and down, and he's hitting some levels of rookie wall at times. But yeah, Victor Wembanyama is going to be a star, no question. And I think Trey Murphy III is about to come back for New Orleans.
No, the Pels are finally getting healthy.
Yeah. I love Murphy.
They played Philadelphia last night, and they actually kind of ran away with it.
Yeah.
That was kind of an impressive win.
Yeah, they're a good team.
The big thing is just staying healthy and seeing if Zion can be moderately 85% for a whole season. You know, that's kind of the big thing. I think that's the biggest obstacle for them is just staying healthy. Because when they have Ingram going and they have everyone else going, and then, you know, teams have to take into account him, they're a damn good team. I don't know if they can make a run in the playoffs or anything, but
sure, they can make a run in the playoffs. If Zion is healthy, they can absolutely make a run in the playoffs. No question about it.
Yeah, because I don't even know if he's played a whole season. And when I say whole season, I mean, he's been hurt every year, I feel like.
Yeah, he has
I
not.
don't know if it's been every single year.
Yeah, he's not played a whole season.
Yeah. I did kind of have a random go. Well, it's not random. Is this the healthiest the Ole Miss football program has been since Vaught?
The problem with that is the era we're in is so year to year that if your portal falls out 1 year, you're screwed and you're going to be bad until you fix the portal. I mean, in theory, yes, it is the best run they've been on, and you have a very competent staff and all that kinds of things. So yes, in the understanding of how we mean it, but it's not like, hey, they've got all these sophomores and they're just going to be juniors next year, and then they're going to be seniors, and look what they're doing, because you're just building teams, not programs. But yes.
But I mean, to Lane's credit, it bit them in the ass at the end of 2022. And I'm not saying they're going to be able to maximize or get all the potential out of every team that they did this season. But I mean, he's won 10 games 2 of the past 3 seasons. And I mean, the expectation, I feel like, from a lot of people is that they're going to have another team that has a shot to get to 9-10 wins and make the playoff.
Sure. But you're having to re-recruit your entire defense. They also replacing half their defense. And they didn't develop any depth in a lot of places.
Yeah, and they've got to be every bit as successful in the portal this time as they were a
there's
year
no
ago.
margin. You have to do the same thing over and over and over and over again. Not that you can't. That's the thing.
If you're going to be pie in the sky with it, you have to pick the nits also, because the truth is somewhere in the middle. Like they've not shown, with the exception of Quinshawn, that they can consistently develop young talent. You know, they've got to do that.
They haven't done it all with receivers or offensive linemen.
Well,
kind of with O-line, but they haven't done it all.
They've done it with Micah, and they've done it with Quinshawn, but they haven't done it.
Caleb Warren.
And Caleb Warren, he's gotten better. But in terms of guys they signed and brought in and developed, they've got to prove they can do some of that. And I mean, look, you're picking nits. It's just one of those things. If you're going to really evaluate it, you've got to look at the things they've done really well and some of the things that they've not done, and ask which one is more sustainable. And hell, the answer is nobody knows. Like, nobody really knows how sustainable it is anywhere right now, because it's so volatile. And You know, who knows what does a recession do to the sport in general, not just Ole Miss, but across the board? What happens when teams don't make the playoff in 2012 or 2024, 2025? Do fans go, screw it, I'm not giving my money for this anymore? I mean, nobody really knows. It's why I keep saying we're in this infancy of a new era, and it's hard to predict exactly what anything means right now.
No, I agree. I mean, I feel like if they do a good job in the portal and some of these defensive kids out of high school that Pete's going to sign, not necessarily be major contributors, but they're just rotational guys, I feel like the goal should be 10 wins next season. Now, look, 2025, they're going to lose a lot after next season. I mean, not saying they're going to suck the season after next, but
that's the point.
I mean,
that's the point, is you have really there's no way to even really project what 2025 may or may not look like because there's so much turnover. That's the point. You can bring in this huge freshman class and lose half of it to the portal in a year. There's just no way. There's no way to project that right now. They're not with any degree of certainty at all, one way or the other. You can't say a team's going to suck, and you can't say a team's going to be horrible. It's no way to do it. It's just not possible.
Yeah.
With the exceptions on the extremes, like Georgia's going to be good and Vanderbilt's going to be horrible. But the stuff in the middle, man, there's no way. In the middle's now this massive. I could easily paint a scenario for how South Carolina becomes a superpower in 2025. Easy, no problem. Now, is it realistic? I don't know. Who knows? But if you have the money, you can go buy a team.
Yeah. Last thing, Jeff Lebby at Mississippi State, over or under 3 years?
I mean, at 3, I'll probably go over. If you put 3.5, I'll probably go under. But I mean, 3 seasons, it's not unrealistic.
Well, I mean, they fired Moorhead after 2, and they fired Arnett after 1. Not saying I don't know how Levy's going to do there. I don't know. They've done like this fundraising thing with NIL, but at the same time, and he's a really good offensive coach. I just don't know how that's going to look.
Hey, Bobbin, we need to wrap, man. I appreciate. Hey, Bobbin, we need to wrap up. I appreciate the time.
All right, thank y'all.
Thanks. We're going to wrap it there. I've missed most of the first half, so yeah, I want to get out to his game. I hope that everybody understands. I appreciate it. Thanks for all the people at Comer Southern for sponsoring the show. Thanks to everybody who called, everybody in the stream. We will. I'll have a couple things to you over the weekend, and we'll be back on Monday with another week of podcast here at MPW. For Chase, I'm Neal. Take care.